What's up, like Nostalgia? Dave here with a review of Chance the Rapper's second album, Starline. And yes, this is technically Chance's second album. Coloring Book and, of course, Acid Rap were qualified as mixtapes. Chance has been away so long that the mixtape album debate that was a factor in his early career just hasn't been on the mind, right? As the streaming proliferation has largely made the definition, irrelevant at this point. But Chance was a pioneer for that thing back in the day, right? Coloring Book, all this Grammy attention, having the Grammys for the first time really acknowledge a streaming only music release. And it felt like Chance was, on top of the world right at the end of the 2010s before it all kind of came crashing down. 6 years ago at this point was the last album. That was the big day. That was the big inflection point for Chance the Rapper's career, where it was his by far least critically acclaimed album, his least popular album as well, leading to the cancellation of an arena tour, a lawsuit that is actually just about to go to trial between Chance and his former manager, Peter Corcoran. And to make matters worse, more recently, Chance and his wife have gotten divorced. Of course, Chance was the I love my wife guy. That was the meme about part of his music, and then even that fell apart. It's been quite the quiet, 6 years or so, right? Chance has released some loose singles. In fact, he released a ton of music last year as the phrase Starline for the next Chance project was publicized to us. And this has been something that Chance has been really marinating on as he's kind of seemingly reevaluated, his life and his approach to his career, and gave us 5 singles last summer, none of which made this album today. My favorite of those singles from last year was Bad Guys 2 with Joey Perp. Chance and Perp continue to have a fun relationship together, 2 Chicagoans. But yeah, it's funny to think about the lead up to Starline, right? Because I just think the hype was, it just wasn't there. I just don't think people were necessarily eagerly anticipating the next Chance album. And I think the onus was really on Chance to bring people back, right? Because of how burned a lot of people were with the big day. And if you think about the tour he's announced a tour that's not arenas again, right? He's going back down in terms of scale of his live experience, which is cool. I'm still gonna go check him out. I think seeing Chance in a small venue again will be a lot of fun, but clearly his profile is just not what it was. And I myself will admit I wasn't super anticipating this, just because I haven't really loved most of those loose singles that he's put out. And despite the fact that I'm a big Chance fan, I've seen the guy live 3 times. I listened to Acid Rap the day it came out. I was up on Chance for a long time. Like I said, I think the onus has been on Chance to bring people back and remind them of why they fell in love with the guy, back in 2014, 2013. Chance the Rapper's second album, Starline, is definitely an improvement over the big day. This is an album with a lot more focus, a lot more mature lyricism and introspection. Chance definitely comes across as a guy who's lived more life following the 6-year wait between albums. That being said, the energy level on Starline is hardly consistent, and I think a lot of times when Chance kind of devolves into this more spoken rap style delivery, it's simply just not as compelling as his earlier work, which was so much more lively and engaging. And while I respect a lot of the lyrical message that you'll find across Starline, I do find some of these tracks a bit wanting, but it's clearly a step in the right direction following the big day. And I hope that we don't have to wait nearly as long for the next Chance album, and he can start to really focus back in on this next phase of his career following this layoff and this big, abrupt pause to his career. I do really enjoy the first track, Starside intro. Definitely a freestyle vibe. I like the way the drums get more involved. The song progresses. Then you get this choir pop in. I love background choir use. Chance, no stranger to that, of course. The song, sounds important. It sounds impactful the way Chance is delivering, the way he's rapping. Chance has always had great intros. Think of Good Ass Intro, for example. This is a track that needed to, I think, land. I do think the song lands, and I like it. Unfortunately, I wish his energy, I wish his delivery from this was present on more of the album. The next song, Ride, featuring Do or Die. I think the lightness to this song, the floating that Chance is doing on it, I think really comes across well. I think it's a good flow. That feature from Do or Die, very much reminiscent of like Bone Thugs and Harmony. I like the track. Track 3, No More Old Men, featuring Jamila Woods. I think the kick drum is nice. I think the strings are nice. Overall, I think the song's just okay. Jamila Woods celebrated Chicago at this point. I just don't think the song is like super impressive overall. The Negro Problem, featuring BJ Chicago Kid, of course, storied collaborator of Chance at this point. That's a song where the message is clear, and I do think the message is pretty good. I think Chance, can talk on more important and serious themes when he wants to, and I think it works well. I think the BJ Chicago Kid reunion fits the song really well. It's not a song you're necessarily gonna revisit for obvious reasons, but I do think it works pretty well. Also, a highlight for me, next step would be Drapetomania, featuring Baby Chief Do It. This is basically if the Big Day's Hot Shower was good. I think this one just a lot more fun. I think this is one of the highest energy moments on Starline. I enjoy it. I like the Thug Life Fuck Ice reference. That was really fun. Fuck ice on your chain. Like, it's really, 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 really funny bit of wordplay there. Also right up for me is another highlight for me, Back to the Go, featuring Vic Mensa. Man, I loved when Vic, this was probably pre-pandemic at this point, when Vic and Chance buried the hatchet at, I believe, Lollapalooza, and did Vic's song Say I Didn't together after they had some, kind of beef that we never really understood too much. They've been cool for a while now, once again, and it's fun to hear them on the same track again. If you've been a fan of both of them for as long as their careers have been, like, it's funny to think that Chance the Rapper has been a significant force in rap since like 12 years ago. It's been a long time at this point. But this song, very self-reflective from Chance. I think the Vic feature really fits the song well. I really enjoy it. The Highs and the Lows, featuring Joey Badass, is the one song he released in recent memory that actually made this as a single. And I'm a big Joey fan as well. I do think the song, though, is just kind of fine. It's just kind of a jazz rap song, nothing special. Space and Time, this is Chance just like straight up singing, very musing in terms of what he's talking about. I think the chorus is pretty messy. I think the song kind of falls apart, honestly. And from here, I think is where the album starts to turn. Link Me in the Future, you have this like slow play flow from Chance. I just don't think it's super good, where he's like taking his sweet ass time to get the bars out. If you listen to me, I'm a far cry from someone who's like, I need the fast flows, right? I hate when people do like new school Eminem delivery. I don't like that shit. That being said, this is just kind of comes across a little elementary at times, right? I do enjoy that heavy auto-tune like vocoder section, but overall, like, this is just a flow that unfortunately I think he does a lot of in the second half of Starline, and it's not the best, stuff. Gun in Your Purse, featuring Young Thug and Tia Corinne. This one's pretty fun. Tempo picks back up. I do think the repetitive hook from Chance is a big demerit to the song. I like that kick drum, though. I think Thug's wordplay is pretty amusing. Overall, it's solid. Tree, featuring Lil Wayne and Smino. It's a corny song, but it's like corny in a good way. It's like peak Chance type of corny, right? And it's just a bouncy song with this super jubilant chorus about weed. And I think Wayne's feature is actually surprisingly pretty good. The bar is on the floor at this point for Wayne verses, but it's honestly not that bad after what he gave us with the Carter 6 earlier this year. That being said, I think Smino doesn't make a big impression on the song somehow. He's kind of just in the background. And then from here, we have just, I think, a lot of songs that kind of didn't work for me. Burn Your Block, Letters, Speed of Light, Pretty. Just a Drop, it's a pretty, like, nails on a chalkboard song. I think lyrically, like, it's another message song, but these message songs don't work when you have Jay Electronica as part of being one of your messengers. Jay Elec, not impressive from him. He's a much better rapper than he showed on this song. It's annoying to, I think, hear him expound in the way he does about certain things like this. So yeah. And then Speed of Love, I think the Jasmine Sullivan feature is largely wasted. It's just like, it's an album that I think starts off like promisingly enough, right? It's like from the beginning, it's like, okay, this is not acid rap, this is not coloring book, this is not even the peaks of 10 Day, but it's better than most of the big day, and I think we would take that. But unfortunately, I think the album just gets way too long and just kind of loses a lot of steam. So it's like, it's an improvement, but it's probably not an improvement to the degree most people are hoping for. So I'm going to be very curious. How does this album perform commercially? How does it, last? Does any of these songs pick up? How does his tour sell? A lot to figure out, right? Do the Grammys immediately welcome Chance back and nominate him a lot? A lot to figure out. But let me know, what did you think of Chance the Rapper's second album, Starline? Did you like this? Are you happy with this as the comeback Chance album? Yes or no, let me know. And for more rap reviews, more music reviews, subscribe. And I'll see you next time.